All right, welcome back. My name's Jason.
And I am Colter, and welcome back to the Massive and Passive Income Show. We're going to be talking about the ideal real estate investment, which is income, deductions, equity, appreciation, and leverage.
Yeah.
So each of these have so many cool aspects of how they are beneficial in a real estate transaction. We've talked about income quite a bit.
Yeah, we did an episode on massive and passive income. So that's the I in the I.D.E.A.L. So let's jump into the D. Okay. So what's D stand for? You're the expert in this. You're the CPA, the expert analysis man. So I'm going to let you lead out on this one. But we have a lot to talk about as far as deductions go. So much, not only in business, but also in real estate business, and then just real estate period that you can classify as deductions and tax savings. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into that.
Yeah, I love the deductions that can happen inside of a real estate business. Now, you have to remember you are a business, right? And so any deduction that you're taking, and when we talk about deductions, we're referencing basically a taxation and how we can deduct from the incomes that we are producing and reduce that taxable income. So when we're talking about different types of deductions, there are deductions that require our cash. We have deductions that don't require our cash, but they are a tax benefit.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about real estate is that you're in business. So when you're driving your vehicle, or you're using your cell phone, or you're using, you have a printer that you need to have for work, all of those are tax deductions, but you're going to have to pay cash for those. You got to pay for the vehicle, or cash, or borrow, or have some sort of cash commitment to have purchased and paid for those types of deductions. When it comes to non-cash deductions, this is called depreciation in real estate. And the nice thing about real estate is it is going to appreciate. In the law of averages, over the last several hundred years, real estate appreciates.
And in the last 40, it's appreciated 3.7% per year on average.
Yeah. So the nice thing about having a real estate asset is that it's appreciating in value, but you're able to take a tax deduction over here. And even though you're not losing value in the property, you're able to take a deduction and reduce your taxable income coming in from that property. And if it's in excess of what's coming in from that property, you can actually deduct it from other taxable incomes that you have.
Yeah, I love that. I remember the first time sitting down in front of a tax and legal strategy class, and I had this epiphany. I'm like, business owners, real estate investors, they spend all their money, and then whatever's left over, they pay taxes on. And I'm like, I was W-2, I was driving a truck for Big Brown. I made all my money, paid taxes on it, and then I spent what was left over. And I had a huge epiphany. I'm like, wow, most of America, they pay taxes right up front. The government takes your taxes out. You have to pay taxes on everything you do now. And some people are saying anywhere from 30 to 40% after everything's said and done with gas and groceries and everything else that you do in life that you're taxed in, and then your income tax, and then you sell something you're taxed on. I mean, whatever it is, all those taxes add up. So the normal person that goes out and has a regular job, they pay their taxes and they spend what's left over. Business owners, real estate investors, they spend all their money. I don't want to say that may sound bad, but they spend their money on business expenses. They spend their money on things to help out their business. They take their life and make it a tax write-off, and then whatever's left over, that's what they pay taxes on. Mm-hmm. And I thought at that point, I'm like, I will always have either a business or a side business or a side hustle. And if you don't right now, you need one. Deductions can add up really big, really fast.
Yeah, they can. So I love how you put that, right? You have your regular, W-2 income that's coming in, and then you have your other businesses. So the person here earns their money, gets taxed on their money, and then they get to spend the rest.
Yeah.
The business gets to earn their money, spend their money, and get taxed on the rest. It's a reversal of thought, in my opinion. It's really a mindset of being able to utilize the incomes that you're generating and be able to leverage that in time and be able to, really you're driving capital into a place where it can actually grow. And I love that.
So. Yeah. I just had a conversation with a brother-in-law. He just got a new job. He's making more money. He's made in a long time. And his wife actually is got a promotion. She's making more money. And she goes, we're getting nailed every year and we have to pay taxes again this year. And I'm like, you guys know real estate. You know that if you just got one rental property, two rental properties, that would bring down your taxable income down big time because you could write off a bunch of stuff you're already doing. Oh, I don't know if we want to bother with that. Bother with that? How much money are you paying in taxes? You want to just give the government? Why not work a little bit for yourself? Not only get the tax deductions, but then get a little bit of that appreciation and get a little bit of that passive income that can also offset to help you do other things that you want to do. And so I said, plus my brother-in-law, he's off 4 days. He works 4 days, off 4 days. I said we could buy him a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath. He could work on a little bit on his days off. He could turn around and rent it. He could do some fix-ups on his days off. All that's a write-off. And then any money he makes, it comes in. I said, you guys, we need to sit down and talk. She called me yesterday. She goes, we do need to sit and talk. Maybe it's time for us to get a couple rental properties because what's the threshold right now where you jump up to the next tax bracket? Is it like $67,000, $70,000? I know it was like 67 and a half, something obscure like that at one time. I don't know where it's at, 68, 69, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
But you jump up to the next tax bracket at that point. Maybe it's even in the 70s now, but so don't get mad at me if I'm off. I'm off maybe a little bit. But
how about this? We'll drop this into the show notes, and then you can go and reference the tax table that seems to change every single year.
There you go.
So I'm surprised you don't have that. Come on, Jason.
I know.
Going with this.
But what's awesome, if somebody's just making even $10,000 more than that threshold and get taxed at a higher level, one rental property could bring them down so they're taxed at a different level, lower, just from one. And maybe you might need two. But the great thing is you get two that bring you to a different tax level or tax bracket, and then you get the passive income and you get the appreciation. So it's like a triple dip almost. Not only are we going to give you our cake, we're going to let you eat it and we're going to let you lick the bowl afterwards, right? I mean, you get it all.
I'm surprised you didn't just skip to licking the bowl, Jason.
When I was a kid, I'll tell you what, my mom makes something, she'd give out one of those beers and the three of us, my brother and my sister, we'd fight over that thing. Like, who gets to lick that thing, you know?
I hope the audio is more clear on the podcast because I'm pretty sure she handed you a beer, not a beater.
No, beer. Did I say beer? One of those egg beaters, you know? I'm sorry if I said beer. I said beater, but
I think you nailed it.
Okay.
But all right, so we get distracted a little bit, but deductions are awesome. So you can see that we enjoy this. And I think your example of your brother-in-law is really a powerful one. And here's the reason why. Look, they have a nice income. And that nice income can be taken by the government day in and day out, right? And every time they get a paycheck, they get what is left over, right? But you take these 1-2 properties, that lifestyle they've created, and let's say they were making $200,000 a year. If they're over here and they take these deductions, they could reduce that taxable income potentially to 150 or 125, or it just depends on some of the attributes of being able to go and acquire that property. If they can have some legitimized business expenses on behalf of that business, it could be that they're going to improve their lifestyle of what they were living at $200,000 over here, and they're going to be able to live it by utilizing that business to create the lifestyle that they want and the longevity in a retirement plan.
The longevity benefits. Yeah.
And shorten that time frame of them having to retire based on just contributing to a 401k or an IRA or whatever those retirement plans are that are offered to them there. So
I even talked to him about starting an SHA. I said, let's deep dive into what you guys are doing right now. Because, I mean, he literally went from here and in 2 years, like $40,000, $50,000 more a year. Just like that. And then she, because of what she was doing and because he got a new job, she could stop paying the insurance at her job. So she automatically got like a $500 uptick in her monthly income. And then she got a raise. And so, I mean, within a matter of 2 years, they haven't been able to capture what's gone on. They've just been working. But I said, let's slow down just a sec. Let's just sit down and see if we went and got you 2 properties, what that would do for you. So you don't have to buy anything. So let's just look at it. Yeah. And I think they're both going to be like, oh yeah, let's go find us a property. I said, even if that property broke even if you went $100 in the hole each month, I think you'd save enough money that it'd be worth having.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think you're right. So deductions, honestly, you should be looking into what those deductions are. And vehicles and cell phones, I mean, are things that you already are buying. And if you can start to deduct that, take part of your lifestyle and deduct that inside of a business that legitimately is going and driving revenue and creating this other economic entity, you absolutely can create value for yourself, for your family, and for really that long term that you're trying to focus on. So I love it.
I do too. I was just to go off again. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was talking about starting a business. And he goes, I'm afraid of starting a business because if you don't turn a profit 3 out of 5 years, the IRS is going to come in and say, hey, you got to shut this down. You got to do something different. And I'm like, do you know what industry you can show a loss every single year and never get shut down? And he's like, what's that? It's like real estate. You can show a loss every year. You don't ever have to show a profit in real estate, and the IRS will never come in and shut you down. Any other business out there, if you don't show a profit 3 out of 5 years, they're going to come question you. All right, what are you doing? You're losing money. Are you legitimate? Are you really doing this? Or are you just going out for a tax deal, right? So that's another perk. And I mean, we could talk a couple of days on the perks of running a business, the tax write-offs, the tax deductions, the tax planning, what it does for you long term. I love it. And that's why it's the number 2 in the I.D.E.A.L. Income's first, deductions is second. And then the next episode we'll talk about equity.
We'll talk about equity.
All right, awesome.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.